Ville with Counter Punch Boxing News, and I am live for this once again live stream. Matthew Wren, I think he has made it pretty clear he won't be. Okay. Ash Barr, no. LOL. Tony Lyons, first. Let's go. I wonder if Eubank Sr. will show up for this presser as he does like to make an entrance. Tony Lyons, that is true. That is very true. He does like to make an entrance. He does like to make himself known. And we're going to talk about that because, I think egos maybe on both ends, but more on the senior end is the reason why he's not there. Mama Lou, hello to you. Jay, what's good, Jay? Everything's okay. Jay. As far as your question, I would like senior to be in Chris's corner, but will not be there. He openly expressed his thoughts on his son and his actions and said, I will never be in your corner. Sad to see. Bryce Productions, hi. Bill Keaveney, what's up, Bill? What's up, Bill? Counterpunch to you. I say this about Chris Eubank, senior and junior. They're like two peas in a pod to me. They're a lot alike. The mannerisms, the speaking, the speech. Because, Chris Eubank Sr., he taught himself to speak that way. You must speak on a proper etiquette, with proper etiquettes. You must speak. You must speak. Squilla 50, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Eubank's dad and son are like drama queens. I don't really see Chris being a drama king, though, or even a drama prince, to be fair. Because, I see Chris kind of more laid back, Like the Bens, though, the Bens are just totally up. They are in your face. They're very dramatic. They're very intense. That's the word for the Bens. They're intense. Chris has done his job helping to sell this fight. He doesn't need to be there. Well, in fact, it's kind of strange you say that, Bill, because him saying that he won't be there makes it more interesting, that Ben's dad is there and he's not. Snapshots reviews. I agree with Senior. This fight should not be happening. It's a distraction for both fighters from defining their own careers in their own rights. That's interesting. I think the fight was kind of forced. I think if we would have got the Tyson Furies versus the Anthony Joshuas, the Deontay Wilders versus the AJs, if we would have got fights like that, I don't think this would be so widely and pushed the way it was, right? Herc Gate, what's up? Junior is putting himself in a serious disadvantage with the weight drain, etc. If he gets rocked, that's going to hurt his legacy. Well, if he gets hit, the punches are going to hurt him, and he's already said it's going to be at a disadvantage. But he just feels he's so much better than Connor, to the point where 60% when he was going to make 157 was going to be more enough to beat Connor Ben. Which I think I think he's really underestimating Connor. Because Connor is one of those dudes that's hell-bent on, especially after that egg slap. Oh, yeah. He was hell-bent on, he's hell-bent on destroying Chris Eubank Sr. Where do you see the winner of this going? Step up or stay the same? Honestly, I just think it's something for something that already happened. I just think it's something that already happened, and it's for like either because nobody look. You think about it. Chris Eubank Jr. is at 160. Connor Ben is at 147. They will never cross paths again. And in fact, if his last name wasn't Eubank and his last name wasn't Ben, they would have nothing in common. That's how I feel about it. I don't think that any of this is relevant to any type of continuation for advancement. The only thing is Chris Eubanks Jr. put a foot in his mouth by saying, hey, if I lose, I'm going to retire, which is stupid. You know what I mean? Because that means you're backing yourself into a corner. You're taking money so you can get so you won't rehydrate. You don't have your dad in your corner, unlike Connor. What else? Nobody really likes him. You know what I mean? Because he called all of the promoters except the one that he's with scumbags. You know, yo, I'm locked in and got the presser on my 85. Let's go, effing go. That's right. They do have the last final, don't they? My friend went for a night out last week, and Junior was there hobnobbing in the crowd and showing off. My friend said this guy ain't taking this seriously. Do you think Ben is out partying? Nope. Nah, Ben, he's not. Ben, because Ben, the Bens, they're on the losing end. So to ensure that they win, they don't want to cut any corners. Connor is intense. Eubank is always kind of chill. Yeah. So you mean to tell me Snapshots reviews that he was out? Here we go. Here we go. 6,000 watching. I don't know. I think Chris probably gives people the perception that he is not taking it shit seriously, but he's very much doing that. A lot of people do that. They give you the perception that they're not training. They give you the perception that they're doing something totally different. But behind closed doors, he's actually making it happen. So you got to be careful with that. Casa calling, message retracted. Okay. Junior is taking it seriously just because he was at a party once doesn't mean he is not. Chris is locked in. Okay. Chris Sr. was pissed at Junior for the egging. Yeah. I was thinking, who the hell is the dude with the beard with the hat? And that's Connor Ben, dude. Connor Ben looks like a undercover inspector or some shit. So he was pulling Ryan Garcia. Pretty much. And Ryan was acting like he wasn't doing shit, but Ryan was training like the Dickens. He was training like the Dickens. He was training as though, you know. Look at Chris's neck. Yeah, they're locked in though, bro. They're locked in. I just wonder what made Connor Ben decide to grow a beard. Just like that, you know what I mean? Eubank makes out he don't care, but deep down, this really does matter to him. Big problem more than anything else, any other fight in presser. Well, he knows that his name is important, and I think Chris, let's go deeper with Chris, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Okay, so we got Chris Billum Smith, Brandon Glanton, Chevin Clark versus Vidal Riley, Liam Smith versus Aaron McKenna, Anthony Yard versus Lyndon Arthur, and Chris Eubank Jr. versus Connor Ben. This is pretty much primarily, besides Aaron and Brandon, this is an all British card. Wow, what channel you watching it on? Because I haven't seen the fighters yet. I'm watching it on Turkey YouTube channel. This is Sky Sports Boxing. It just started 11 minutes ago. So if Connor pops a PED test after knocking out Ben, it will be hilarious. Bro, that shit will be ballistic. That would be if Connor Ben fails another test, he has to replace Jarrell Miller as the worst cheat, or as that ideal model cheat. I mean, he has to at this point. If Connor tests positive again, there ain't no coming back from that, man. You can't come back from it. You might as well. Look. No, there's no come. I don't care where you box. I don't care what Eddie tries. If he tests positive again, if those cats detect anything in his system at this point, he's finished. He's finished. I'm just gonna be real with you. If Conor Ben tests positive again, no, man. And I'm not. I don't wish that on him. I didn't wish it on him the last time. And honestly, this fight should have been something that should have been looking at in the rear view. We should have been looking at this in the rear view mirror. This fight here, this fight should have been talked about 2 years ago. This fight should have been 2 years plus aging right now. Quan Big Guns in the building. What's up, brother? Counter punch to you. I'm good. I'm good, bro. Can I get your opinion on why the boxing community seems to go easy on Ryan Garcia over his drug use, but obviously hate Conor Ben? Well, Ryan and Ben, the differences. Ryan popped dirty for what was it? And he was the latest. Ryan popped dirty. He had a 6-month ban, whereas Conor popped twice for the same thing. Conor was more on that level of Jarrell Miller, but the hypocrisy was just there. Because see, the same people that trashed other people, like let me give you an example. Eddie Hearn. This man trashed Jarrell Miller for testing positive, like everybody else did. And it was like a popular thing to do, right? You had a brash talking Brooklynite that talked a lot of shit, that was rude, that was very disrespectful. He was outspoken, and he popped. So people liked the idea of Jarrell Miller cheating because it was like, wow, a big mouth, brash, trash talking bum from New York tests positive. Oh, let's hang him at the stake. The same Eddie Hearn, though, also trashed Canelo before he started promoting him. You guys got to remember that. He started trashing Canelo. Oh, he should be banned forever. He should be banned for good and all this shit, this, that, and the other, right? Till he started, promoting him, of course. Now we got Conor Ben at the end of the rainbow. That he's like, oh, I had to believe that he didn't do it or not. I mean, anybody convince you that he didn't do it by crying and whatever, or. But the thing is, it wasn't really popular to take the son of nobleness. It wasn't the thing to do. That's the problem. See, we are all pretty much guilty of this shit. It's just, see, Conor Ben, if he wouldn't have been Connor Anderson, Connor Murphy, Connor Williams, Connor Smith, if he was any of those things, he would not be looked at the same way. I'm sorry. He's just not. Marlon Thornell in the building, counterpunch to you. Clomiphene, or however you spell it, does nothing at all to help you in any way. Well, no, that's false, because they've proved that when men take it, it gives them a boost. So it does give you something. They've been over that shit a lot of times, Tony. So no. Conor was nothing on the level of Miller, bro. Come on. Didn't Miller pop twice? Didn't Conor pop twice for the same shit? Did any of them come up with any reason scientifically how did it get in their system? No. See, the difference is you got Jarrell Miller, a guy he's marketed to be unlikable. Conor is not. Conor is marketed to be, like his dad, admired. We have to look at that the way it is, because that's all it is. Osterine. Okay, Osterine. Okay. But see, Ryan, though, this is the similarity between Ryan and Conor. Ryan, though, I mean, I don't give Ryan a slight time. I ran his ass up the flagpole for the derogatory racial comments that he decided to use on online. That's still floating around out there. He blamed it on mental illness, just like Tyson Fury did. Oh, I was mentally ill. I was drinking. I was smoking. That's your mental illness. You was an alcoholic. You were just drinking too much. And then you may be kind of racist, and then you let that spill when you were drunk on the effects of alcohol and smoking weed. That's all. And if you look back at it, it's embarrassing to him because those are maybe the things that he doesn't want people to know about. He may not want people to know he don't like black people or he don't like Muslims. He might not want people to know that. Had he not been drunk, people wouldn't have known that. But since he was drunk online, people know who that is and know what he said. So that's all. So, he pretty much went that Tyson Fury route. That doesn't make him any likable. I feel Eubank will have no punch resistance with the huge weight cut and the rehydration clauses. Meanwhile, Ben gonna be 110%. Marlon, that's what they're hoping for. They're hoping to drain this young man. Well, he's not even a young man. This man is in his mid-30s. This guy is 35 years old. At 35, bro, don't get me wrong. At 35, I was spectacular. Dude, I had an 8-pack at 35. Now I got kind of like a 4. But no, I had all the energy in the world. But compared to 28, that's a difference, bro. 28 is something totally different. Kurt, you think Eubank is genuinely upset for his boy or just jealous because he's not involved in nothing, including the camp and the money? Tony. You're going deep, bro. Shout out to Tony Lyons over here. I think it's a little bit of both. I think that Chris Eubank Sr., honestly, Chris Eubank Sr., when he heard his boy said he's his own man, he walked away because of that. But I think it's more of ego, not necessarily finances, because I don't think Chris Eubank Sr. is hurting for money. But money never hurts any farmer prize fighter, right? But the midst of it all, I think it hurt him more that his son didn't want him with that particular role. You know what I mean? Because I think he wanted to be that guy. Chris Eubank Senior will always be that flashy guy with the flipped ass glasses and and all the decor and the attire of all this fanciness and stuff. Yeah, he's 35. That's what I said. The water retention look from the test that these 20-year-olds are doing is not a good look. No, it's not. I think Eubank taking this fight for the money. He will be very dehydrated. Canelo famous for dehydrating his opponents. Yeah, a lot of them are. Canelo Alvarez, yeah, he's good at it. Miguel Cotto, he's good at it. Manny Pacquiao, he's good at it. Come on, people. Floyd's done it, but Floyd's really not known for it. It's like those guys. I know he did it against Canelo. But the problem with that is nobody could get their story straight. And that's why for Junior, this fight should be not happening. It's dangerous for him. Kurt in his 20s looking like AJ. No, AJ was much bigger than I was. AJ's taller. But the thing is, I was more slender. So I do kind of get that profile. And I had the same kind of haircut, you know what I mean? Hair grown back. I had more hair. But, yeah. No, I think that it's crazy, man. No, he's a bigger dude, but, he's bulked up on weight. I couldn't be that big. You can't be that big being a stunt man unless you double someone that is that big. So, for me, being big like AJ, because I'm not a small dude, no, but I can't be like balls. I can't be packed with muscle. For one, you can't move. That's what makes me wonder. Like these dudes, man. Like I don't get it. That's why I would rather fight AJ in a fight than someone like Wilder, because Wilder's already a slender dude that may or may not have a big punch. I wouldn't want that motherfucker knocking me out. I wouldn't want him knocking me out. You know, because I want him. I want to be in a boxing match with somebody that actually likes to box. So you know what I mean? Like let me count, catch and shoot. Catch you with an uppercut. You like that? You know what I mean? Those type of things. Whereas Wilder's just waiting for that one shot. He ain't trying to trade. He ain't trying to do none of that. Anthony Yard, man, I like Anthony Yard. He's always chill. Junior is at the tail end, most definitely on the decline. Well, he's already said this is the biggest fight person he's had. So if this is the biggest fight person he's had, of course he's doing it for the money. And if he loses, hey, he got paid. He wanted that money 2.5 years ago. And imagine that you are going to get paid $3 million, 3 million pounds, or whatever it was. Then, for no fault of your own, the fight doesn't happen, so you don't get the dough. Then you find out you're getting the dough. You get your ass whooped, then you redeem yourself, then you beat somebody else's ass. Then that money's comes back to you. So if I'm Chris Eubank Jr., I'm like, yo, I'm happy about that. Stank Davis is great at it. Yeah. He's good at that too. Oh, Javante. But Javante learned from his big brother, Mayweather. Eubank take Little Bank. I got Eubank by late stoppage. Kurt, did you hear Manny? Manny is fighting Mario Barrios. I don't like that fight for Manny at all. I think Manny needs to sit his ass down. I mean, Manny, here's the thing. Love Manny Pacquiao. I was a Manny Pacquiao. Well, you know what? I can't say I was a Manny Pacquiao fan because I hated his fans. Manny Pacquiao fans, especially the Filipinos, oh my goodness. Those dudes were deplorable. Those fans were deplorable. They were absolutely horrific. Those dudes were at a point where they were the ones that I did a video. You guys haven't seen it yet. I haven't posted it, but they are the ones that threatened Timothy Bradley when Timothy Bradley won the decision against Pacquiao in their first fight. Remember, they fought 3 times. Kurt, yeah. So no, man, Manny needs to sit down. I just hate his fans. His fans are, or the fans that he used to have, because they were just they were almost they were like they were worse. They were probably the worst. Because see, Floyd fans really weren't fans. They were kind of casuals, and a lot of them were black. A lot of them were black, and they did not support that fighter. They didn't. Them were the cats that hung out at barbecues and shit that watched the fight for free. Hey, but no, I don't like that fight. Mario Barrios versus Manny Pacquiao. I don't like that fight at all, because Mario's tall, rangy, bigger, younger, and in Manny, he ain't been in the ring for a while. I don't like that at all. AJ done a lot for heavyweights and a lot of gear. Yeah, okay, I can agree with that. Bryce Nigel will be cut. Bryce Nigel will be, but Chris isn't. I got Ben to knock out Connor within 5 rounds. Who will you be backing to win, Kurt? Who am I backing to win? I mean, I don't really, I don't know. See, you have 2 factors that people don't talk about. One, can Connor Ben still bang like he did when he was on the juice? Let's just be real. Is he the same fighter? Because what we saw with Conor Ben was a decline in performance. We seen that in a Dobson fight. He wasn't the same fighter. Whereas Chris Eubank has been consistent. He's been consistent. And since he's been consistent, it's like, okay, well, then Conor hasn't. Conor has been that dude that he was tearing people's head off. Now he ain't doing that. And when people start giving you performances unlike what we are accustomed to seeing, on top of testing positive for some substance, it's very easily believable at that point that maybe it was the damn substance that made his performance look the way it looked. Okay? So we got to keep that a buck. So you got that for Conor. So I think people are overlooking that point because he don't look the same. Then you got Chris Eubank with his high rehydration. He's getting paid extra and 200,000 or 300,000 pounds and stuff like that just to stay within the parameters of the 10 pounds. Will that be too much for him? That's the question. And then everything else is skill, will, heart, and feel. That's it. Yeah, Wilder straight up street fighting. They are like Canelo and damn near Wilder. Yeah, the Canelo fans, I haven't really heard much of Canelo fans. Before my channel really got popular, I had a Facebook channel, and the Facebook channels were just, ugh. Yeah, that was messed up. Bradley, literally the nicest guy on earth. Yeah. For 500,000 tax free, would you take the Wilder fight if you were talking smack about him? I would fight 500,000 tax free. Yeah, I would fight him. It has to be tax free. I don't want to hear that short change shit. Oh, you're American, so you got to pay. No. Yeah, I would fight Wilder, and especially now because we don't know now if he can punch or not. I might go in there and jack Wilder up. You know what I mean? It's not like I don't have the ability to fight or to box, especially fight, let alone fight. The only thing about fighting is, I would rather be in the cage because, I choke you out, arm bar you. You know what I mean? I could do different things like that because that's actually what I started training as. But as far as boxing, boxing Deontay Wilder for me, I just don't want to get hit with that right hand. But if I knew that, that's all you have to worry about, yeah, I'm going to try to knock out Wilder. No disrespect to Wilder. I'm just going to try to knock him out because they're paying me 500K. That's the same shit they paid Luis Ortiz, but his was taxed, wasn't he? And he had a child with a disability that he still had to pay that money to. Eubank needs to be KO Ben inside 4 rounds. If he can't, he will be KO'd. Interesting. Connor Benedict. Hergate. But once Eubank has rehydrated, but will be close to 170. Well, I mean, if he's at 170, the closer he is to 170, the better his chances are to be healthy and to fight successfully, to fight normally. But you have to go where he normally goes, and that's probably normally about 174, 175. Bro, these are pounds. These ain't, these are pounds we're talking about. A pound means a difference. Kurt, would you take a left hook from Zhang? A left? You mean a right? You mean a right hook from Zhang? Probably not. Fighting Wilder for 20,000 is crazy. I wouldn't fight Tony. I wouldn't fight Wilder for $20,000. That ain't no damn money. What is $25,000? What is 20,000? That ain't no money. No, you better come with something that it takes you a couple years to make. You see what I mean? Like, yeah, you're above something with the type of money that you made, because a lot of times you may not, you want to invest it because you want it to do something, but I would use the money and buy me equipment for a lawn service. Zhang's right hook is more devastating than his left. Well, his left is that straight left. And then don't get me wrong, that left is timing, but the right hook has the power. That 1, 2, that two is yeah. Is that Hunter up there in the black leather coat? I don't think so. He might be there. I just reached out to Michael Hunter yesterday. I'm not sure. Who would win, 58-year-old Mike Tyson or a 400-pound depressed Tyson Fury? I don't know. Because that Tyson Fury at 400 pounds, I think his body was completely toxic. No, that's not Michael Hunter. Do you know Michael Hunter? I've never met Michael Hunter. I've had conversations. I don't know Michael Hunter like I know Frank Sanchez. But yeah, I mean, I've had conversations with Michael Hunter. Several, actually. 20,000 a month here. Exactly. So why the hell would you fight somebody for 20,000 damn dollars? You know what I'm saying? $20,000. I mean, shit. If you make $20,000 a month, you're no ordinary man. Point. But that doesn't necessarily make you rich either. No, because $20,000, you have to think about it. If you're American or British or wherever the hell you got to pay taxes, you got to pay taxes on that shit. And at the beginning of the year or whenever, that will give you the blues. Trust me, I know. When tax time comes around, no. No, it's not Hunter, but it looks like him though. Can you see my comments? 20,000 a month would be great. Living check to check here. Them taxes hurt. Well, $20,000 a month. I mean, it depends. Is it 20,000 taxed? Because Okay, what an idiot. Guys, get rid of this dude. MT, whatever. Get rid of him. Ban him forever. But I think that you get taxed twice. Check to check too in the UK. Cost of calling. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is a lot of time. I mean, things change too. I mean, you could go from, especially like in the YouTube world. It's hell when you get a check for 10,000 and then you turn around and get one for 2. You know what I mean? That's crazy. Yeah, he was just like, yeah, I don't know where that comes from. It makes you think, where do they and why do? Because I don't bother nobody. I don't get it, you know. And it's not like I got a big following like I used to. It's like people are here but they're not type shit. It's like my channel has been shadow banned or some silly shit like that. That's what it feels like. Because with fights like this is like one of the biggest British fights, and then we got 27 people here. It should be 300, 400 easy. You know what I mean? So, thought you could get rid of him. You could get rid of me. Yeah, actually I can. You just came back as part 2. And you will be gone. Boom! Look at Mama Lou got you. They are insecure, Kurt. Probably a Fury fanboy. But I don't see what I did to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury did nothing bad to me. Just Tyson Fury got his ass whooped. That's all. That, I mean, everybody gets whooped. Kurt, you should have speak. You should have to speak to YouTube about shadow ban. Yeah, I think it's something going on with it because I've never been. I remember Punch Drunk Boxing. We talked about some stuff, and he, he has over 100,000 subscribers, so he has about probably 10 more thousand subscribers than I have. But I notice his numbers are also dwindling too. So, you know, I don't know what that's about, honestly. And I think certain things, certain topics, certain stuff you can't say. YouTube, the YouTube at chat services. Okay. Failure to take action will result in a channel strike. Thanks. Okay. On May 18th, 2024, Fury realized that every dog has its day. Now that's true. I believe that. Because but like YouTube doesn't contact you like that. Look at MTBD. I don't understand where all this stuff is coming from. Let's get rid of them. There you go. When you see anybody that says something unlike boxing, get them. I'm on it. Yeah, it's weird, man. It's just weird stuff. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. You know. But I mean, a lot of times, let me see what's going on.
Stop all of that now. Hey, you better watch him out, boy. Who you calling boy?
Brendan's on smoke down there, isn't he?
Okay, well, didn't want to interrupt that, but as I said, a terrific time to be a cruiserweight indeed, as if you needed reminding. There you go. And when you look into this next contest as well on Saturday night, a great fight in the middleweight division, former world champion Liam Smith back after a lengthy time out the ring. Of course, the last time we saw him was that defeat to Chris Eubank Jr. up in Manchester. He meets 9.
You know what though, Bill? You might have a point. Like that may be like a virus, bro, and that's some scary stuff because if it's a virus, that means you have to contact YouTube. You know what I mean? And that may be probably what their objective. Like they deter you from notifications, and they also deter everyone here that's here. Because you think about it, like it was just 3 minutes ago, it was 40 people here. Now it's 30. So maybe I don't know. Maybe that's that. It may be that way, man. So I'll contact the real YouTube and see. Just some kids on their dad's phone. Nah, I don't think so. I think this is a little different. I think those are more like bots because you have to think about it. If it was kids on a phone that was just doing that, they wouldn't create a whole nother page just to do that. You see what I mean? They have to create another name and then come back to the live stream. I don't see kids doing that. I don't know. Some kids are malicious though. Some of them you do want to take out back, and do them like their parents didn't do them. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe they're dumb. You don't pop up on my recommended for YouTube anymore. Yeah, I don't know why. That's something that you got to ask YouTube for. And it's crazy because algorithms mean a lot, like say Mostly, I remember a couple years ago where, well, even a couple years ago, showbiz was doing good. But I don't see a lot of people. I think, I have to look for people too. Introduce them to the right hand. Absolutely. Kurt, maybe they starting paying attention to content creators when they hit 100,000 and send you out the play button. Maybe. But I mean, if that's the case, what happens to poor old like Punch Drunk? Because Punch Drunk doesn't really have like the numbers, and that's discouraging. You get 100,000 people to subscribe to your channel, and I think Punch Drunk has about maybe overall maybe 20,000 views. Well, it's crazy because that's one thing. Because some people, they spike and they subscribe for just like that one or two video popularity spike or whatnot. Well, for me, I've got over 80 million. 80 million. I had to stop to this phone because my boys took the TV for his game. Liam Smith looking like he's 55. Why is Liam Smith looking so old? But no, all of the live streams basically are pretty much the same, especially when it comes to, yeah, that gray hair, bro. He needs just for men. Richard Gere, Steve Martin. That's what I think about. But he's older than his brother Callum, right? Is Callum older or is he older? And Callum doesn't have all that shit unless Callum, dyes his or something. He doesn't have all that. But if you guys can remember last year, all of my live streams, basically damn near all of them were being demonetized. If you guys can remember that, just for no reason. So something's going on with, I don't know. Something's going on. Yeah, Richard still lost Sydney though. Yeah, he did, didn't he? Pretty woman. It's crazy though. Like people look at that movie like, oh man, it's so unrealistic. No, bro. Actually, that movie is very realistic. You know how many times people like them passport bros and all that they go to other countries thinking that they're gonna find love in the streets, and they get had and they get hurt and they get robbed, they get swindled, they get bamboozled. You know what I mean? Those girls take them to the cleaners because they're talking all this "I love you" and want to be with you" shit. They're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll give you my number so you can send me money every month or every week or every day or every whatever. So then, you know, by the time you realize, yeah, that I've already taken you. Fun fact: both Eubanks and Ben have a beard transplant. Really? I don't think that Ben got a transplant that fast. Kurt, have you ever thought of starting again? What does that mean? Like starting another page? Yeah. If you're talking about starting another YouTube channel, yeah. Because I think that some channels, I think if these like bots and stuff are the reason for that, you find love in the strangest places. I met my ex at a bus stop. Them passport bros are wild. They just be getting used by local women. Local women from different places, but they're still local women from where they're from. All these Americans keep walking onto British right hands and getting sparked. I hope Usyk fights Parker now, since Triple D has to fight Chisora. If not, then we all see Usyk as being heavily protected. Well, I don't know what that means because see, if Usyk's protected, like it's not him having to fight Derek Chisora, it's Daniel Dubois having to fight Derek Chisora. That's not a passport, bro. That is a trick. Okay. But that's what passport bros more normally do. They look for love in other countries, but the problem is the places that they go are heavily involved in prostitution. Yes, starting a new channel, Lee Foster. Yeah, I've thought about it, but I'm like, bro, that's a lot of work. And if you guys like, I could probably start another one because I've done it before. I've started another channel and within 9 days. But understand this was in 2020. And also understand the channel was totally different than it is now. So, I didn't like, I was under attack from other channels claiming that I was using their stuff for financial gain. So it's like they said I was cloning their material. What's your other channel gonna be called? I don't know. Probably probably the counterpuncher. Now the question is, if I would do another channel if I knew I wouldn't have to worry about everything I'm worried about now. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure people would follow me, but I think the channel is not getting the traction. This channel is not getting even the traction of the posts. Because remember, the posts, that was the way that I was able to fundle and get the other channel up. So, that being said, I would make another channel, sure. But I don't know necessarily if that, if I wouldn't want to run into the same thing. It is good to start fresh. It's like starting a new job, isn't it? Like, hey, let's start a new channel, and if I did start a new channel, I would just be like, I would be exactly like Hat Man. I would be exactly like Bruce Vane. I wouldn't even, because I don't really,
Just to the right side.
like somebody's about to get slapped. Like somebody's about to get slapped. But anyway, yeah. I don't really think that it's good to start over to see if you can do it again, but it's just a lot of work, man. It's just you shouldn't have to deal with all that based on your reputation, based on your content. You shouldn't have to deal with haters. You shouldn't have to deal with a lot of stuff that I'm dealing with. So a lot of the points of the frustration I have with the channel, it's when something becomes a hassle, it is better just to kind of leave it be. You know, I want to see Usyk versus White. Who's protecting Chisora though? Nobody. You know, it's politics, Kurt. We all want to see Usyk versus Triple D, and Usyk agreed when Triple D stepped to him. But all of a sudden, they making the fight. Another fight, Usyk can fight a tune-up. Kurt, I'd love to get into some business with you on something. Yeah, man. Anything that makes money, I mean, it's legal, you know. Stuntman boxing news. Yeah, it would be dope, wouldn't it? Because I could actually pitch it to the people that I work with. Stuntman boxing news. Stuntman boxing. Yeah, Skrilla 50, you might be onto something. I mean, I have another channel, but I don't really post on it. And then I'm an overthinker too, so I think a lot about certain things that may or may not even matter. I was told that recently, right? From someone. They stopping counterpunch from gaining traction. Yeah, they really are. And it's crazy because I don't really see how and why they would, you know, because it's like it at a few years ago, I had more overall views than someone like Showbiz, someone like Aki, things like that. Like, and then you start, you know, what I mean? And you would hate to think that someone above is trying to, hey, I don't like this channel. Let's try to shut it down. Type shit. They blocking a man's dreams. They know you're the real deal, boy. Well, I don't know. I see Hatman is venturing into other topics other than boxing. Well, Hatman though is he has a big Patreon following. And if I'd have knew what I knew then, I would have started Patreon years ago. Will his Turkey, let's see, aka Mohammed bin Turkey, take over American boxing? No, that won't happen. That won't happen. Hatman is the best unbiased UK channel. Well, Lyndon Arthur versus Anthony Yard. That's going to be a good fight right here, man. This is actually a good undercard. You know. Yeah, it's going to be a good undercard, though. That's what I think. I picking Ben by stoppage. I mean, he works for the Zone, so I mean, he's doing more interviews and shit like that. So his salary is probably more than his salary could be on YouTube. Then make some on the side. And here's the sad thing: as much as content I do, I don't make anything near what I made before. With all these damn subscribers and all the people that follow me, they find a way to mess you over. And it's kind of I know people probably get tired of hearing me talk about it, but when you're accustomed to a certain amount of people, a certain amount of views, you're still gaining subscribers, you're still doing what you're supposed to do, there's people still coming to your channel. Yeah, but Quan Big Guns, like, they called him a Fury hater and all that, but you didn't stop. You didn't see a downfall in views. You didn't see that. You didn't see that at all. In fact, you see the opposite. See, if you're unpopular or you're known for saying something that's not popular, it's just as easily being popular. But no, I like a days where I like a G-Man Boxing, and G-Man Boxing was actually a channel, a smaller channel, which it still is. But even that channel gets more views than me, and I'm thinking, how in the hell a channel with that less of subscribers is doing more traction than me? They have to be holding me back. I'm not saying Hatman lost views. He is the best UK channel because he is the only one that's unbiased. Well, I don't care what people call me. Don't mess with my overall, You guys can tell, like, there is no way in hell, no way in hell, and it is frustrating. So a lot of this is part of me, kind of venting, but there is no way that could happen or should happen. Yeah, you could have passed. You should have passed 100K a year ago. Yeah, I agree. They trying to blackball you, Kurt, but your following is too strong. Well, it is, but then it's not. Because if you stop someone's notifications, or you go to YouTube and inform YouTube, because more than likely one of those type of things had happened, you know. But yeah, that like 100,000. Do you guys understand? Like channels like even Carl Froch. Carl Froch does numbers that are just crazy. Showbiz does too. And you look at channels like that, you're like, okay, they're doing really well and I'm happy for them. But then you're looking at it like, well, wait a minute. You have guys that are over 100,000 views. I work hard, man. I work hard at what I do. It ain't like I sit around and not, oh, you might see one next week type shit. No, I do 4 or 5 a day. And they are a Skrilla 50. They're blackballing. And I think someone should do something about it because there's no reason why my subscribers, the people that follow me, shouldn't get notifications. You got the best channel, believe me, UK weirdos. Kurt, you've been on the decline when AJ and Wilder have been on the decline. That could be a major factor. No, absolutely not, because AJ and Wilder haven't been a thing in years. Ed, that has nothing to do with it. Me being the overthinker, I thought, well, maybe it's the topics or something like that. I don't know. But the whole thing is, the truth of the matter is, it's not AJ and it's not Wilder. Dark Slagle. I stopped getting notifications all the time from multiple channels. Then I subbed and resubbed and start getting notifications again. I think it's a algorithm problem. It may be an algorithm problem. I hope it's something like that. Instead of something that's so big like, hey, I don't want to sound like Wilder. Right? Kurt is not on the decline. He's just hated on by YouTube. They blocked his notifications for years. And the crazy thing, they just once upon a time, like YouTube was like, that's what you wanted. I unsubscribed and subscribe again. I do this about twice a week. Well, there you go, peeps. When I get enough people online, subscribe and unsubscribe. Because I think it activates the algorithm or whatever. And I think it shows YouTube's systems that you are pursuing this particular, yeah. So there you go. Subscribe and unsubscribe, and like stuff like this really needs to go out, and I think people need to hear what I have to say about it, and I'm continuing to talk about it. Yeah, it is stupid that they make it difficult. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard if you do the work. Now, if you don't do the work and you pull some bullshit like, lie about or buy subscribers or do certain things like that, that's totally different because that's cutting corners. I'm not cutting corners, man. This is my problem with Chris Eubank, though. Chris Eubank Jr. and Sr. Chris Eubank has already went on and said, hey, if Chris really wants me to be in his corner, he could call me and ask me. So if all it took was Chris Eubank Jr. to call his dad and ask his dad to be at the fight, we'll be at the fight. It happens with Pain Game too. Well, Pain Game, and that's my boy. True Geordie, he has the subscribers. I don't have 1 million subscribers. You can't, with something that big, you can't stop something that big. That's just too big. You know, Getting millions of views a month is one thing and they cipher it down, but having 1 million subscribers, that's your overall fan base. You know, if Connor KO's Eubank in round one, it would be embarrassing. Yeah, it would. It would be embarrassing to everyone. You know? It would be embarrassing to everyone. Everyone involved. I mean, he is now. I think that I do need like I do need a following or whatnot. Like as far as that goes. And I'm not against Turkey Al Sheikh. I think he's done something big for for the community. I think he did something big for boxing. Hell no, Kurt. You don't cut corners. You put on average 5 to 8 videos a day. You're a definition of work. Horse King Kurt. Man, shout out to Pro Bees, man. He was just like, man, do you understand that you do more videos than most people do in a week? You do in a day. And I was like, nah, I didn't. I just love doing it. Does YouTube make money from you, Kurt, when you make money? Yeah, they do. That's why it doesn't make sense. Proper Boxing is massive channel, Kurt. I guarantee if you do a reaction to True Geordie, that video will be your biggest traffic this month. Proper Boxing, Kurt, I guarantee you if you do a reaction to True Geordie. Yeah, I started to do one on True Geordie. And True Geordie himself actually likes the video content, so G-Man is great with the daily. Yeah, yeah, I like G-Man. You could tell he genuinely likes genuinely. There we go. Fuck. Likes boxing. you know, yeah. But no, on the Saudi team, no, it's big. It's cool. But I've never been in this type of low views in probably the last probably 6 years. Six, yeah. It's 25. So yeah, 6 years because even in 18, 2018, the channels just started just picking up and took off. So then Tube are stupid then for not sending notifications. Well, I've done research on it. They only give three particular notifications to three different things, which I think is stupid too, because I think the more you do, the more you should do. And that's what made me fall in love with YouTube overall, because YouTube, like, there's no cap. You go to a job and you want overtime. Well, if there's no overtime, you can't work. Well, YouTube wasn't like that before. But I think maybe the shorts have a lot to do with it. I hate shorts. I think they're stupid. I think they're for people that either you're TikTokers, younger crowd of people that don't have patience, that don't have yeah, you don't have the patience. Your concentration is your attention span is this small. If they promote your posts, you may do more. Maybe. But I think they depend on shorts because so many people are flying into YouTube for shorts, just like Facebook, just like Instagram, and TikTok really started it because TikTok was all about shorts. Yeah. So it's basically all it is. Or the UK audience, the biggest viewers on your channel. They are. UK, but they used to be 50%. Now that has went down to at least 32. So 18% drop. Can't make that up. I mean, it would encourage people to create. I don't know. I mean, and I'm just kind of getting over like colds and allergies and stuff like that. And then it's kind of, and then I still do the work, but it's harder to do the work because if you're sick, you don't really feel like doing it. So it's like, dude, I could do that, that, and that. And then it's like, what would that really matter if YouTube's not even helping me anyway? If they're not even doing what they normally do? Speaking of help, there's Connor Ben with his beard. If I'm Connor, though, I wouldn't want a beard just because Chris got one, you know? Like, would you want a beard that Chris has? Well, I mean, Anderson is not like, he's not off the charts. I mean, he's just, I don't know. Because, well, America, though, my American following is like 21%. But keep in mind, 21% of 91,000 is still a lot of subscribers. And that's a lot more than most people's channels. See, we're not talking about a 5,000 subscriber channel or a 10,000. And needless to say, if you'd have told me 7 years ago that, hey, you would have a channel that had over 10,000 subscribers, I would tell you that you're absolutely crazy. You're stupid. But the crazy thing about Tyson Fury, he's promoting the idea of Jared Anderson. You know? The Ring Magazine. I am a diehard heavyweight boxing fan, so I will watch regardless, except the Klitschko era. That era was ass. Yeah, just watched you recent video on why Fury is promoting Anderson. Yeah, I'm glad you saw it. AJ versus White, Nigeria. AJ versus White should be in Britain. Being in Nigeria makes no sense. Dillian White ain't from Nigeria. AJ is. John Johnson. What's up, brother? I remember you, said John Johnson. Child groomer. Yeah, what a cunt. Yeah. And it's crazy. I actually knew a dude named John Johnson I went to school with. So I'm thinking, oh, I remember you. But he wouldn't have been saying it like that either. You know. Yeah, yeah. And the last couple years has probably been the worst. And the worst thing about it for me is that it's not really it wasn't something that I was anticipating. Like for me, the less I work in the film industry, the more videos I can do. But now it's like everything kind of stopped all at once because YouTube is not what it used to be. You see those checks back in the day and you see them now. Hey, nah, You see those checks back in the day, you want to go somewhere. You know, hey man, let's go to Puerto Rico for a couple weeks. Can you imagine that, getting a face lift 1 week later you're in jail? It's crazy. I believe that happened to some rich guppy. You know, I think the whole idea is, though, doing what you love to do. And I love to make videos. I love to commentate. I love to give my thoughts on boxing. So I think the whole idea, the solution to the problem is, let me ask you guys this. Let's do this. Cool. And AJ could fight Miller in America. That would be epic. I mean, I think that would make the most sense if AJ did what he's supposed to do, if AJ was really about AJ. I'm sorry. I mean, AJ needs to come over here. He needs to fight Jarrell Miller. That's how you full circle. If 258 was really a management company for him, you know, you're not going to fight Usyk again. Fighting Dubois, I think, could be something you could do later after fighting Jarrell Miller. And I'm going to tell you why. Danny Dubois already beat Jarrell Miller. So if you fought Danny Dubois again without fighting Jarrell Miller, I think that's stupid. Turkey needs to buy YouTube. That would be dope. Buy their asses. Because I did hear it was much better before anyway. There's someone in the crowd that Connor's dad thinks might start trouble and trying to get him out. Will you be attending the Chris Eubank Jr. Connor Ben match at Tottenham Hotspur? No. I will not. No, don't them all. Don't. No, don't. Then all the channels would be the same. Well, the reason why I'm asking is because, you know, fresh channels and how I see how younger channels are, they get more love, they get more exposure, things like that. Where is the Tottenham Stadium? I think AJ and Usyk was there. Yeah, AJ and Usyk 1 was there. Usyk and AJ 2 was in Saudi Arabia. Look, we got my man Michael Buffer there. Connor knocked out Skull in sparring. That's what I keep hearing. That's what I keep hearing, man. I keep hearing that he knocked him out in sparring. I keep hearing the same stuff. You saw what happened to Frotch. He used to speak freely. The turkey bought him now. He says nothing. Well, yeah, he did talk a lot of shit, didn't he? You know, I miss the traffic, you know. It's a dopamine hit. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, it feels good. People, you know, to flush in, you look at your shit, you know, next 5 minutes is like 100 views in 5 minutes, 200 views in 10 minutes, you know, shit like that. I haven't seen that in a while. I haven't seen that in a while. It's Yeah, don't look. People watch, people care, comments. That's another plus. Then you can respond. Yeah. If you're going to start a new channel, don't until the channel gets 100,000 and then get the 100,000 subs silver play button. Yeah, I was thinking that. And then I would just probably do something more, you know, something else. You know, we can't hate on fights happening in Saudi if they get money tax free. Right. I don't know about UK tax, but in the US they take 50%. It's the same, bro. The Boston Tea Party. You ever remember the Boston fucking Tea Party? Where do you think the Americans got the idea of taxing from? They got it from the UK. It's just the hypocrite bastards went and started it after they won. They won the war and they're like, it's not a bad idea to start taxing. What will the other channel be about? I don't know, man. I mean, we're doing well, me and Boxing Wave, we're doing a channel. It's happening. It's happening in May. It's happening. We're gonna set it up, do the first episode. We're gonna do some live streams. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. You know, I'll try to get my friends to subscribe. I mean, I don't care about subscribers more than because subscribers mean nothing unless you watch the content. So if you don't like the content, it makes no difference if you subscribe or not. That's why if I had a situation where people did not genuinely like my channel, just unsubscribe, that would make it easier for people that actually do subscribe, that actually reoccur. It's all about the views, absolutely. If you have a monetized channel and you get 50 million views on a monetized channel, bro, do you understand what that means? You just got sex appeal. That's what that means. Yeah, Boxing Wave is chill, man. He's chill. I always like Boxing Wave. And, I don't think people have known, like, what's really happened in boxing, especially with channels and like the worst time has probably been first was in 2020 when I couldn't post, when people wanted to hear from me, when people were looking like what happened to Kurt. That was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because it was like, well, man, I can't post. So what I did was I got with my boy Kid Fresh and we started another channel. Counterpunch Boxing News Round 2. Ding ding. Yeah, it should be a boxing podcast and it should just be something better than this. Honestly guys, I really didn't think the channel would go as big as it is. And I think it's capped. And I think people are here to make sure it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Sadly to say, but I think that I'll start another. Let's see. I mean, it's only 14 views, and it's 50 fucking 50, so I don't know. I'll start another one, man. I would love to get to 100,000. I would love that plaque on the wall. And see, I could start the other channel and use that, like, hey, you guys remember formerly Counterpunch Boxing News. You know, your attendance at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium match in London is important and essential. You need to be there. Abdul Rahim, if you get me there, I'd go. Facts. Got a passport? Yep, let me know. You can start another channel. It won't diminish CBN. Okay. A guy called Henry is good boxing channel. Ben Whitaker even DM'd him after he won. I feel bad for Ben Whitaker now. after knowing like him kind of breaking down like that, that shit was real. One thing about someone crying, you can kind of tell when someone's cries to be fake and they cry to be hurt, real. What I learned about Ben Whitaker, he made me look at him in a different way. Ben is tarnished, but Ben was also trolled. He was ridiculed. He was judged. And in that press conference, he felt all of that shit. He felt it all. And you could tell he did because it wasn't just people that don't know him, like you and me. It was people that knew who Ben Whitaker was, and they left him. They didn't even support him no more, man. That's a heartbreaking thing because I know what it's like to be rejected. I know what it's like to be overlooked. I know what it's like to be, cast aside. I know what it's like. I do know what it's like. And I feel bad for Ben because Ben, listen, you can have the people that start following you could easily unfollow you. But it's the people that are closest to you and they stop following you, stop supporting you. That's a totally different issue. It ain't the people that, they used to thought he was the shit and he found out he ain't. Well, okay, they found out he was human. So what? But what he talked about was the people that were closest to him stopped supporting him. That's bad, man. That's bad on a lot of levels. Because see, Ben Whitaker, nobody deserves, like, I don't have too many friends. I don't. But the friends I do have give a shit. Best boxing analysis, and you got to believe it. Brains you have in depth. Lincoln, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. But no, I mean, yeah, but no, I felt Ben Whitaker on the people that were close to him and left him. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Why would you want, I don't think Ben will be elite. He struggled with a guy with 6 losses who is probably an Uber driver or a bouncer. Maybe. We'll see.
And what they willing to sacrifice, not only to the sport, but to stay in the sport. So, me and Chris, we had a wonderful camp, and he just, day to day, after day, he was able to show how dedicated he is to the sport, how disciplined he is to continue to pretty much stay in the gym day in and day out to prepare for the show.
And I know you respect Conor Ben, but as a student of the game, ultimately, what do you believe sets aside Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Ben this weekend?
As a student of the game, number one, I respect any person that make up in their mind to put a pair of clothes on and defend themselves, whether it's 10 rounds, 8 rounds, or 6 rounds. Because it takes a certain type of mental fortitude to be able to do that. And in no way in the world should that be underestimated. But even with that, I think what separates what we have going on, meaning with Chris Eubank, is his mentality. It's a little bit different, and I do believe that with that mentality, along with that work ethic that he has, it's gonna be the separation between the two.
Okay, Jonathan, thank you very much. We're going to hear from Team Ben as well, Mr. Tony Sims. Tony, when you think about your relationship with Conor Ben, when he walked into the gym as a raw novice to where he is now on the grandest of stages, what makes this personal journey between you and Conor a special one when you see all of this?
Yeah, as you say, coming into the gym as a 19-year-old teenager, he was a raw talent then, and obviously every fight that he's been in, he's been under the spotlight, and we've all watched as his talents grew, and like you say, he's here now in probably the biggest fight in boxing, certainly the biggest British fight in boxing, and you know, be tuned all around the world. Everyone around the world will be watching this fight and in this magnificent stadium.
And it's 1-0 to the Eubanks, one draw, of course. How do you believe your man settles that score on Saturday night?
Yeah, well, every expert, so-called expert that I listen to or watch on social media are all favouring Chris Eubank Jr. to win the fight, because obviously they're saying that Conor's at a disadvantage moving up 2 weights, and Chris is going to be too big for him and too skillful for him. But I do believe that Conor Benn carries the power up from welterweight to middleweight. I believe he's got the speed, and I believe in him himself that he wants this fight really badly, and obviously he's been through 2 years of hell. Over that course of time, he's gone from being a boy to a man, and we've seen in his camp that we've had 8 weeks in Palma, Mallorca. You know, I know every trainer says the camp's gone, we've had a great camp, the camp's gone fantastic, but we really have, and he's excelled in his training, everything he's done, times on his running, his S&C, his rounds in the gym. He's been incredible. He's had world level sparring. All the sparring partners we brought in are all top world level fighters, and he really has looked fantastic in sparring. And you know, I believe in him, and I believe that he will come out victorious on Saturday night. And like I said earlier, he's been through 2 years, and sometimes things happen for a reason. We don't know why at the time, but God has a way of looking down, and things happen for a reason. He's been through hell for 2 years. But sometimes you have to go through these things to come out on top at the end, and I believe that Conor Benn, this is going to be his destiny. Saturday night will be his destiny, and I believe that he's going to win this fight.
Okay, Tony Sims, thank you very much. Back to Pete Eubank and the great Ronnie Davis. He's here, Ronnie. Fantastic.
No, Quan Big Guns. You never heard of Sims before this? No, Tony Sims used to train Anthony Joshua, bro. He was before. He was actually the guy that trained Anthony Joshua before Rob McCracken. Dear user, please be aware that your stream is being monitored until the investigation is completed. Your IP address has been verified. Your account will be temporarily closed. Get out of here. Somebody get this guy out of here. My God. You know. Surprised they didn't ask for money. If you give $5,800, we can make it all go away. What a joke. All right. So, Connor, how did the drug get in your... I don't know.
We're going to hear quickly as well from the promoters on either side. Firstly, Ben Shalom. Ben, here we go. This is it. You were just talking to me off stage there. A lot of hard work behind the scenes, but we're here now. Not long to go until what we're all waiting for, the sound of that opening bell. Make your case.
I can't quite believe we're here. It's been a long road. It's almost a pinch yourself moment. Eubank Ben 3, October '93. That was a month that I was born in Manchester, and now we're here, part of the biggest British boxing story ever. It's an amazing feeling to be here. I think everyone's going to remember this event. Just look at the media attention here today. I've never seen anything quite like it, but for me it's because of Chris Eubank Jr. the biggest name in
Coincidence.
boxing outside of that heavyweight division. He's a huge star, and I think, to be honest, it's those big nights that he's been in, it's those big fights that he's had that is going to see him through on Saturday night. It's a monumental event. It's the first Ring Magazine event as well. So to see them put this on, a sold out Tottenham Hotspur straight off the bat, it's incredible. Thank you to our partners, Matchroom, and thank you to the Ring Magazine. Thank you to His Excellency.
Thank you. Thanks to Rick for... I knew this
Uh-oh.
was coming. Do you know what I've been thinking? It's coming.
There's
Do you know what I've
Chris.
been thinking? Can I even say a few thank yous or?
No.
Okay. Matchroom have to speak, right? So I'm going to switch it up. I'm just going to firstly say how proud I am of Conor Ben. What he's been through these last 2 years. And I can't wait for him to smash you to pieces on Saturday night. But Matchroom have to be represented. So I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to let someone else speak on my behalf. I'm going to let someone else speak on my behalf. I'm going to introduce you to scumbag number 2. Ray Smith, come and take over. You don't have to do
Okay. Hello, substitution.
Frank, if Eddie's not speaking, do you think you're going to get a word in?
That's the one thing I'll give you. I'll be very quick.
We're going to have some parliamentary procedure.
Okay.
Anything that Matchroom, Eddie Hearn or Frank Smith have to say is irrelevant and will not be heard.
Thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate your kind introduction.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Look, I'm going to be very quick because I don't want to get cut off too many times. I'm going to be very quick, Chris. Don't worry.
Anything.
Chris, don't worry. Well, I'm saying something, aren't I? So, you know, it seems to be working so far. Thanks very much, Chris.
You guys are
Chris, sorry, I can't hear you. It's
If I direct a question to you or to Eddie, then I could speak.
It's very honourable of you.
Outside of that, I don't want to hear a peep.
Thank you very much.
Talk to me, or if you try and do your little speeches to me, then
Yeah.
just shut it down. Because guess what? People aren't here to listen to you already speak. They want to hear what me and Connor have to say.
I don't disagree with that, but people want here to hear your promoter speak, but you allowed him to
You're
speak.
not going to out-talk me. You're not going to...
No, I wouldn't dare out-talk you. I know I can't out-talk you, Chris. You're a very good
I don't know
talker.
why you're on the stage, but you should probably get Eddie back in.
It was just to help with my
I have a
profile.
chance to say anything than you do, trust me.
Oh, really?
Eddie's irrelevant, but you are...
Super irrelevant.
Exactly.
I know. I'm so irrelevant. You called me a scumbag in a press conference. It was nice of you to bring up my name. Thank you very much. But anyway, I'm going to be very quick. I've been lucky enough to work with Conor Ben for many, many years. Thank you, Chris. I'm talking.
That you were going to...
Holy
Not
shit.
speaking.
Okay.
We can do the back and forth.
Yeah.
It can get boring.
It could get very boring, so I'll end it here.
Get boring.
I can't wait for Saturday night. It's going to be a great
I
night.
don't mind.
Thank you to the Ring Magazine. Thank you to Turkey Out Shake. That shut you up, didn't it? Thanks very much.
2 words in. Everybody... Everybody's best.
Thank you very much for immensely helping my profile. Thank you. I'll pass it on now to people more important than myself.
Okay.
And thank you.
Wow. I'll tell you something. There's probably a reason why Chris Eubank Sr. is not there. Because I don't think he would condone all of like the over talking, the rudeness, you know, the disrespect. He wouldn't want that, bro.
And here we are, 32 years on after your last meeting. Your sons relight the flame once again. What are your thoughts, your feelings? What's been, as well, the biggest piece of advice you've passed on to Conor this week?
Do you know what? I watched him a lot. You know, the fan goes, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in Mallorca, I'm telling. I am telling. And I'll tell you about Conor's sparring, and God is my witness. First he started sparring with Denzel Bentley, super middleweight, but really at light heavy. Had his hands full with Conor. I mean, Conor was just going through it 10 rounds, done it easy. And then he was sparring with a guy that knocked out Mongia, Bruno, I can't remember his last name, Cerezo. Been sparring with him, another light heavy. Conor was bullying him around. bullying him around. And then to put the cherry on top, he started sparring with a guy called William Skull.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Champion.
Here we go.
A week after Connor, coming there 12-handed. Shouldn't say it, but you know what? Because for the last 2 years, all I've been here negative. I'm going to tell you about my son. First 4 rounds. In Connor, Ethan Stevens, and he'll go, perfecto every time he was hitting Connor. Connor was just walking him down. Then I found back round, I think 5, he was like, no, because Connor only has 40 seconds rest. And then what he was doing in between the middle of the rounds, he was sitting on the rope because he was tired. Then it came to round 5, 6, 7, started feeling the pace.
Uh-oh. Start feeling the pace, guys.
William Skull, IBF champion.
Superstar.
Then after that, no, you can't shut me up, mate, because you ain't been where I've been, mate. Behave yourself. But anyway, but then what happened? Round 8 came. And then Tony, we looked at each other and we thought, he just quit. He just stopped. Couldn't take no more. After 8 rounds, literally doing 10 rounds. And me and Tony looked at each other and think, what the friggin' hell just happened there? And I got my boy and I thought, my little boy. He just damaged the IBF world champion. And you know what it is? I am so confident this don't go past 4 rounds. I know my son. Back him all the way. And Connor's not a 12-round fighter. He's an old school fighter that can do 15 rounds. But you're going to see him, mate, the power that he's got. No one ain't seen him for the last 2 years. Oh my gosh. You lot are in for a treat. Mark my word, you are in for a big, big treat. Thank you all very much.
Nigel Ben,
Go ahead, Nigel! Go ahead, buddy!
let's hear from the fighters, both sides of Saturday's main event. Firstly, Mr. Chris Eubank Jr. Chris, you told the DAZN broadcast this week that you are at peace. There is no chip on your shoulder. Despite all of this and everything that is seemingly at stake on Saturday night, what is helping you to have that feeling of tranquility right now?
I know what's coming. I prepared my whole life for these moments. I've put the time in. I've dedicated decades to this sport, and I've done it all without cheating, without cutting any corners, and I'm proud of that. The mentality I have, the experience I have, the fortitude and the will is what I will be using on the night to take out my adversary in Conor Ben.
Connor, you've been on big stages, under the spotlight since you turned professional. For both of you, big shoes to fill. But on Saturday night when you ring walk in front of over 65,000 fans and everything that's on the line, how have you remained in control of your emotions on a week like this?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is what I do. I love this game. This is what I live for. You know, this is every fighter's dream when they turn professional to live this life. You know, there was no more pressure than a 19-year-old kid with no amateur experience walking out to a packed O2 arena. That's pressure. You know, I've been doing this for 10 years and you know, I'm more than prepared, more than ready. You know, I wish it was Saturday night tonight.
Chris, you said the procedure will be parliamentary. You know what that means, but for those of us who don't know, can you paint that in a picture for us? What does that look like on Saturday night?
You know, Conor speaks about pressure and dealing with it, but you know, there's a reason why he had his training camp in Spain. You know, the kid had to flee his own country to prepare for this fight. He knew that he couldn't handle the pressure of, you know, walking these UK streets and having people shouting out drug cheat and egg jokes. He didn't want to be involved in any of that. So he took himself away, he hid away, and now he's back, and now he thinks he can use me to kind of get back into the good graces. I haven't fled, I haven't hid away from anything. I've been in these streets. I've been to gyms all over London over the last 2 months. I've been and spoke to kids. I've done all the media obligations I've needed to do around the country. I've felt the energy on the streets of the UK over these last 2 months, and it's real. People are invested in this. Everywhere I go, people are screaming, and most of the time it's positive, which is it's a new thing for me. I'm still getting used to that, but I am happy with the place I am at mentally. I don't think Conor can say the same thing. I think he's feeling the pressure and the heat. I think he's feeling that, and he's going to feel a hell of a lot more in a couple of days' time.
If the procedure is to be parliamentary, Conor, what's on your manifesto of what happens? And in response to Chris, are you feeling the pressure?
No pressure. I live for this. I've had the fire over 100 times in my head. For me, it's just focusing on the training, removing myself from my comfort zones, my familiarities, my family, and, fully dialing in. I'm not going to allow myself to Chris and go back and forth, and, all that PR is done. I'm excited to get in there and put my hands on him Saturday night. Relevant of all the rubbish he wants to talk and names, and, we're not at school. And come Saturday night, I get to put my hands on him.
You will be at school on Saturday, my friend. I'm taking
well done, you.
At school, I'm going to be the headmaster, my friend. And you will be in detention.
You are funny, Chris. You made me laugh. Just focus on getting away off that.
Weight. What's weight? Weight is, everyone always talking about this weight thing. The weight is painful.
Yeah, good.
I'm in pain right now. I'll be in even more pain tonight and tomorrow morning.
And the worst pain you've ever experienced comes Saturday night.
The question I ask myself is, what is pain?
Oh, shut up.
No, I'm serious. What is it?
Oh, shut up.
What is it? I have a 31-year-old brother. He's buried in the desert in Dubai. That's pain. I have his son, Raheem, 3 years old. He asks, why can't I see my daddy? Why doesn't he take me to school? That's pain. My own father, a man I idolized for my entire life, and he doesn't speak to me. We haven't spoken for years, and he thinks I'm a disgrace. These things are what pain is to me. And if I can deal with all of these trials and tribulations, then the weight cut and the rehydration clause, these are all things that are not an issue. They're not important.
Okay. Chris, in the build-up to the original date, you said 60% is what you'll be, and 60% will be enough. What percent will you be on Saturday, and what percent will be enough to beat Conor then?
Yeah, we're not doing the percentages anymore. That was for the first time around before Conor got caught cheating. Now it's about, preparing to get this kid out of boxing. We're not taking him lightly anymore. He should have taken the chance he had in that first fight. When I was underestimating, when I was, playing, when I was taking him lightly, that was his best shot. And now it's gone, because now I have a duty to boxing, to the public, to the fans who he's lied to, who Eddie Hearn's lied to for the last 2-3 years. I have a duty to erase these guys from the picture.
Conor, the Ring magazine reported in the last couple of hours that you have requested for Billy Joe Saunders to inspect the raps of Chris Eubank Jr. on Saturday. Is that true?
All the surprises, Jamie.
Well, the Ring magazine reported it before.
Maybe not.
What do you make of that, Chris?
It's irrelevant. Hand wraps is not going to save Conor Benn from the arse kicking he's about to receive.
Ooh, scary. Ooh.
Conor, hearing you speak this week, you say what gets you out of bed on those early morning runs is the fear of losing to another man. What about the fear of losing to this man, Chris Eubank?
Yeah, listen, it's always personal. I'm a very emotional fighter. You know, I fight with my heart, my sleeve, and it's the way I've been my whole career. It's the only way I know. So for me, you know, he is another man. Yes, his name is Eubank, and I won't be losing to a fighter whose name's Eubank, especially not this man.
He says he has no game plan, Chris, just a hop, skip, and a right hand, and that'll be all she wrote. Do you believe him?
No, I don't. But that's the beautiful thing about this sport. It doesn't matter what you believe. All that matters is what actually happens once that bell goes, and nobody knows what's going to happen until it happens. What I do know is whatever strategy, whatever game plan these people have come up with, nothing will prepare them for the fire that they're going to receive in a couple of days' time.
Final one to you, Chris. You did say it's impossible that this fight goes 12 rounds. As a final message, how do you beat Conor Benn on Saturday night in the dream scenario?
How do I beat Conor Benn? Any way I want to.
Oh.
You know, it's not about strength and speed and age and weights, all the things that you guys love to talk about. It's about dedication. It's about paying who's paid their dues and who's done it clean, who's dedicated their life, who's real and who's fake. And I believe all of those categories are in my favor.
And Conor, final one to yourself. You've told us no game plan. You don't need a game plan. When the opening bell rings here at Tottenham Hotspur, what happens?
Yeah, I'm coming here to take his ear.
And just finally, Chris, Eubank supremacy. That's what you've kept talking about in the build-up to this fight. You can cement that on Saturday. Is that part of what comes with all of this occasion for you as well, personally?
Legacy indeed. I'm confident. You know, I still want that £1 million bet that Eddie Hearn said he wanted to do. Eddie, what's up, man? You gonna put the mill on or what? Well, I asked you a question, so of course, get on the stage and answer.
Yeah, I'll talk. Firstly, I want to say how proud I am of Conor.
No. When I said talk, I mean answer the question. Are you going to fulfill the bet, or are you going to run away like the weasel that you are?
Ooh, call his ass a weasel.
I'll tell you what. So his excuse at the moment is he's going to get fined $100,000 by the board if he bets, and that's why he can't bet me this £1 million that he said publicly that he wanted to do. So how about I make it easier for you, and I'll put the $1 million up, and you put 900,000 up, so I've covered the 100K fine that you're going to get that you can't afford to pay, and let's get on that way. Let's put the money in escrow tonight, and winner takes all on Saturday. How about that?
As I said to your promoter over there, we'll have a conversation with Mr. Smith. If I won't face any penalties on my licence, we can consider it. In the meantime, get back to the hotel, take that weight off, and get prepared to get an absolute spanking on Saturday night.
That's what I think. Always a way to weasel your way out of what you're supposed to be doing, which is honouring your word.
Okay, if anyone, Frank Smith, maybe you can. What? The bet?
I haven't got £1 million, man. Do you think I'll be up here doing this? I'll be on a beach somewhere if I don't.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude the final press conference. Nearly time for the sound of that opening bell Saturday night. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. We're going to pose now for the face-offs. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, the face-offs is here. Okay. Conor Benn is a beast. He's quiet. He's calm. He's not as pissed. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing. Chris Eubank is always calm. You know, what hit home though, I think Chris is bothered by, the relationship with his father and the death of his brother. And I think both of those situations are pinnacle. And I think they happen around the same time too. And I would hate for look, they're face to face. Look at that. 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 Oh, snap. Ah. All right. Look at Chris. Look at Chris. Look at Chris looking at him. Fierce gaze. Fierce gaze. Look at Conor. Look at Conor. Fierce gaze. Fierce gaze. Like Conor, he has to reposition. Look at that. All right, enough of that. Yeah, get yourself in trouble, innit? Nigel Benn won't let his son lose. Kurt, you got boxing. Look at that. Yeah, that's classic. Look, they're holding him back. At least it wasn't like a plexi screen. Ben, Eubank, Ben. Man, it's crazy. Crazy, man. Because look. Like you look at, bro, they're still there. Nobody's going nowhere. Look at this. Look at this dude. No one's going nowhere. They're still there. This is like Tyson Fury versus Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Look, they don't care. They don't care. Look, dude, bro, this is going to be epic. And I want everybody, I mean everyone, to know what's happening here. This is royalty. This is a little different than that because this ain't like equilibrium. No. Chris Eubank I think he's fueled by the death of his brother. People don't understand what Chris Eubank Jr. does. Chris Eubank Jr., he finances his nephew. He's Papa, really. AA, yes. I'm going live for the fight, of course. Going live for the fight. I'm going live for the weigh-in. And yes, I'm going live for everything. But no, I mean, his father has meant, okay, he has spoke about his son, his disgrace and all this. I think Chris Eubank is, he uses his vernacular very, very, openly. May I have your permission to eat a bagel? Sure. Conor Benn looks like an action figure. Galatasaray. What the hell is Galatasaray? What is this? I don't know what that means. He already said he won't be at the fight. He said that if his son asked him, he would be. So I think Chris just needs to fucking ask him. That's all. I think Chris just needs to ask him. Let's hope it doesn't, because this is what I don't want. This is what I don't want. I don't want a controversial fight. They are both trading off history. There is nothing special about these two. Lots of people have complicated relationships. Okay. Well, I think that Chris Eubank should complete the puzzle by being there for his son, because that's one event at one time, and I think people will. You can't, unless they fight again. You can't get that chance back. It's like anything other thing in life that's important. You live, you die, you experience whatever. Yeah, he hasn't spoken to him for years, but I think I understand now. Chris Eubank Jr. is at a point. That's what drives him. It's the solitude. It's the solitary treatment. He can't talk to his brother no more. His daddy don't talk to him no more. The hell. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, people. It was a great press conference. I appreciate the proud, the Counterpunch Boxing News crowd for showing up. I got more videos to upload. So you guys stay tuned for that. Love you guys. Be blessed. And I will see you guys at the win tomorrow. Peace!